So a mental game coach is going to be someone who works in the field of sports psychology, and they work with you on overcoming your mental game challenges, such as anxiety, low confidence, fear of failure, maybe some high expectations. And they work with you by first uncovering these, really digging deep, and then teaching you some mental training tools and techniques you can use to kind of attack these challenges, and then also strengthen your mind so that moving forward, these challenges no longer impact you so much. Now, when working with a mental game coach or a sports psychologist, the difference there is only education, because a sports psychologist is going to be licensed in psychology with a PhD in psychology. But a mental game coach, they can also have a PhD. The only thing is they are not licensed to practice psychology in this state as a sports psychologist. So they are considered a mental game coach. But both are going to really cover the same topics in terms of sports psychology and mental training tools that you can use to overcome challenges and increase your athletic success. So whenever you're working with one, what's going to happen first is you're going to be given an assessment. This assessment is going to help both you and the professional uncover what the main challenges are. And what's so interesting about this for yourself is you're going to be opened up to some interesting things that you may not have known about yourself. You're going to be forced to dig a little deeper into some areas of your game that could really prove pretty beneficial for you. So that's really going to be the first step. From there, it's going to be all about kind of maybe digging a little deeper on some things if need be, but then really getting into working through some stuff and teaching you mental training tools that are going to positively impact your game. Now, there are two approaches you can take to working with a mental game coach. There's a reactive approach, and then there's also a proactive approach. Let's start with the reactive approach, because the reactive approach is the most common. Now, when I say reactive, what kind of comes to mind? You're reacting to something, right? So if I'm reacting to somebody yelling at me, I'm responding after the fact, right? I'm not going and saying something before, I'm responding after they yell at me. So in a reactive approach to mental training or using a mental game coach, what you're doing is you've noticed that your game is falling behind, right? You've noticed that your game is kind of faltering. It's not where you want it to be. Maybe your game execution is not matching what you're doing in practice. So you're saying, okay, there's definitely something holding me back. I am seeing challenges right now in my game, right? Maybe you are struggling a lot with anxiety, and slowly but surely all the joy is being sucked out of the game because all you feel is an incredible amount of anxiety and nerves every time you step on the field or court. What you're going to do then is reach out to a sports psychologist or a mental game coach and work with them in a reactive manner. Now, there's absolutely nothing wrong with this. It's what led me to working with a mental game coach. Most of the athletes I work with have this approach. It is just about really taking control of your game at that point and saying, I don't want this thing that's holding me back any longer to hold me back from the success that I want. So you reach out, you start working together, and you start uncovering and working through those challenges right now that are holding you back. Now, the second approach is a proactive approach. Now, when you're proactive about something, what does that mean? Proactive means you are doing it before it happens, right? You're taking action before something happens. If I'm being proactive in my health, this means that I'm going to eat healthy and I'm going to exercise, because I know if I do that, that's going to help me be more fit, and it's also going to help me be more healthy. When you're taking a proactive approach to mental training and to using a mental game coach, this means you are taking a proactive approach to improve your game. When it comes to your physical skills, have you waited in the past until you've been making a lot of mistakes to work on your skills, or ever since you were younger were you working on the fundamentals of your sport? More than likely you were working on the fundamentals because you know if I want to get better, I have to work, I have to train. That's exactly the kind of approach that's taken with a proactive approach to mental training and using a mental game coach. You're thinking, okay, I know I need confidence. I know I need to be able to calm myself whenever I'm feeling really nervous. I know I want to be able to perform well under pressure. How can I do this? Well, I realize that I need to strengthen my mindset. I need to gain some tools that I can use. I need to improve my confidence. I really need to start understanding what it is that distracts me. All of those things are improved and worked through when using a mental game coach. So when you're thinking about the two approaches, there's the reactive approach, which you take when you're struggling, but then there's also the proactive approach that you utilize when you say, I want to make use of every resource available to me to make sure that I can achieve the goals that I've set for myself within my sport. Now, when it comes to deciding which approach is right for you, it's all going to boil down to what's going on within your life right now and what's going on within your game. If you're struggling, then it's the reactive approach that's pushing you to working with a mental game coach. If you are just wanting to become the best that you can, then it's a proactive approach. The reason I like to break it down into these two approaches is because there is a very common mindset that many athletes have that working with a mental game coach or a sports psychologist is only reserved for when you're struggling. And while it is incredibly valuable for athletes who are struggling, it doesn't always need to be reserved just for when you're struggling. You can use it in a proactive way as well, just like you do with strength and conditioning and training your physical skills. If either of these approaches sound like you, then you want to take the next step to starting to work with a mental game coach. Now, in the description below, I have a link to a page where you can start the process of working with me on one-on-one mental game coaching. It is a 12-week coaching program where at the beginning we will have an assessment, and then it's weekly calls, weekly activities, a very active and interactive program where we're really going to strengthen your mindset, overcome challenges, and ultimately work to alter your thoughts, your behavior, your emotions, and that's going to help lead to greater success for you as an athlete. If you like this video and you're interested in some more sports psychology and mental game topics, then please subscribe to the channel. I'm trying to put out at least one new video a week. Thank you for watching, and I wish you the best of success in all that you do.